Hi guys, Level Up here. Today I wanted to bring you what I consider to be one of the most powerful PvE builds that I've ever used in the Division. And that may sound like quite a claim, but when you see it in action you'll understand why I'm saying it. It's based around the defense gear set and the concept of keeping your tackling up for as much time as you possibly can. And the way that we're going to be doing that is by running with the determined weapon talent, which was changed in 1.7 so that the 7.5% cooldown also applies to your signature skill. And we're also going to be running with commanding and skilled. And these three talents in combination are going to basically allow us to extend our tackling for up to 30 to 40 seconds at a time and get it back within a minute, which means that you have it on hand very, very frequently, and in some cases you have it back quicker than you're actually able to use it, because there's a built-in 1 minute cooldown on all signature skills. So let's start off with a weapon. The main weapon we're using is an AV MP5. It has decent base damage, it has a low crit chance roll, but that's not really going to be an issue for this build. As I said before, we're running with determined, commanding and skilled. And in my testing on the PTS, I already had a look at skilled, and it does stack with determined. So if we kill an NPC with a headshot, we get the 7.5% cooldown reduction from determined, and we also get an extra 5% from skilled. So it gives us 12.5% cooldown straight away on our tackling. So what that means is, if you were to get 8 headshot kills with while you're running your tackling, you're effectively going to have a full 100% cooldown on your tackling. So with this kind of concept in mind, you can kind of start to understand why this build is so powerful. In terms of the mods I'm using on my weapons, or my MP5, we're using mag size, crit damage and rate of fire on the extended magazine. We're using a C79 scope with crit damage on the major, headshot damage and optimal range on the minor. For the muzzle, we're using crit damage as the major, crit chance as a minor and optimal range as a minor. And on the grip, we're also going for optimal range as the major, with crit damage and reload speed on the minor. And the reason we're going for so much optimal range is just to make sure that we can still be effective at a reasonable distance, because obviously we're going to be running with the MP5 the whole time, so it doesn't have a very good optimal range. So if we can extend that out by like 50 to 60%, then it's going to make a huge difference. So the secondary is irrelevant, I don't use that at all in this build, so it can be anything you want, to be honest. The vest we're going to be using is a Barrett's chest piece. So the reason for this is it's quite unique when we're running with a shield build. So when you initially activate your shield, you get a 10% skill power bonus, so it obviously increases the health of your shield. But while it's active, it doesn't count as being on cooldown. So what it means is your second skill, every time you activate that, you get that extra 5% damage boost from the Barrett's bonus. So that means if we're running Pulse, which we are, every time we activate our Pulse, we get the 10% damage increase from the Tactical Scanner mod. We also get an extra 5% damage increase from Barrett's. And because we're running with Determined, every kill we make obviously brings back our cooldown on the Pulse by 7.5%. So we pretty much have 100% uptime on our Pulse as well. So Barrett's is a really good chest piece to use with any kind of shield build, especially the defense gear set. And we're running with health and enemy armor damage on the major, and ammo capacity on the minor. The mask we're using is a Nomad mask. This is rolled with firearms, enemy armor damage on the major, and damage to elites on the minor. These are the two key ones that you want to have for any PvE build. The reason we're using Nomad is to give us that 2-piece bonus that we're going to get through the ninja bike, which is 15% health on kill. The first piece of defense gear that we're running with in the knee pads, these happen to be rolled with stamina. It's not critical for the build. It obviously does provide a little bit of extra toughness, but I just didn't have anything else. I'd probably rather have firearms just to give us extra firepower, extra damage. But this is rolled with stamina. We've got health on the major, and we've got damage to elites on the minor, and we've got a couple of sort of fairly dead minor attributes there: disorient resistance and blind death resistance, which isn't really going to do much good to us in PvE. And we're running with a firearms and damage to elites mod, and we're running with ballistic shield damage for the performance mod. The backpack is ninja bike, so this is rolled with electronics. We need to get a few pieces of electronics to enable us to hit the 4790 that we need to activate Determined. This is rolled with crit damage on the major. I probably would rather have health. And we've got disrupt resistance on the minor, and again, that's not much use. We'd rather have ammo capacity here. But obviously ninja bike backpacks are fairly rare, so we can't always get 100% what we want. For this, again, we're running a firearms and damage to elites mod. We're running 2 ballistic shield damage mods as well. The gloves are defense gloves, rolled with electronics and with crit chance, crit damage and SMG damage on the major. These are pretty much the ones you want to run with. If you didn't have one of them and you had enemy armor damage, that would be fine as well. And the holster, we have reasonable stats across the board, nothing particularly high. And as I was rolling the major, I was going for crit chance, but I realised this was an old holster which wasn't even able to roll it. So it still has protection from elites on this one. So I've rolled this one with 20% reload speed, just because certain areas you often spend sort of quite a bit of time reloading when you need to be shooting enemies in the face. So reload speed is always quite useful, especially when you've got tack link up as well, because any time you're spent reloading is obviously wasted time, and time that the tack link is running out. So reload speed is quite a useful stat to roll for this particular build. And we're running with another ballistic shield damage mod. Now, if you've ever used defense gear set, you may be looking at my electronics and thinking, wow, that's really low skill power, and your shield's going to be made of paper. Especially now that the 3-piece defense gear set bonus has changed from 30% ballistic shield health to 10% damage to elites. So I'm going to show you a kind of a little trick here. What we can do is change out some pieces so that when we initially activate our shield, we have significantly more skill power. And as soon as our shield's active, we can change the pieces again to this configuration, but we'll still end up with the same sort of amount of health on the shield that we had before. It's because whenever you activate any skill, its strength is determined by the amount of skill power that you have at the time that you activate. And as long as you don't destroy it, you can reconfigure your gear as much as you like, and the skill will still be as strong as it was before. So if we just have a quick look at my what my shield health is currently. So with the current configuration, we're looking at 750,000 HP, so that's pretty weak. But what I'm going to do is switch to this loadout here, which is just pre-configured. It's exactly the same, but what we've done is swapped out a backpack and a mask. And you'll see now my skill power has shot up to 275,000. And that's because I've put on an inventive backpack, which gives us an extra 15% skill power at full health, which has got electronics roll and a skill power roll on it. And we're also running a electronics and skill power mod, and we're running 2 ballistic shield health mods as well. And that's really important. And the mask is an electronics mask with skill power on the major, so obviously again that's going to give us a nice boost. And again we're running electronics and skill power on the mod for that. So if I now check my ballistic shield health, we're now up to 1.7 million. So we've pretty much, we more than doubled our shield health. And what you can do, I'm just going to demonstrate now. So I'll activate my shields, I'll just go into my inventory, I'll swap out the backpack and the mask, and we're ready to go. Our shield is still 1.7 million health, but now we've got our preferred kind of damage loadout active as well. So as long as you don't, as long as you keep your shield alive for the rest of the mission, you can basically go through and use this same shield for the whole mission generally. And there's a couple of exceptions to that. In Lexington, every time you go into a lift, it acts as a safe zone and it automatically puts your skills on cooldown. So it means that every time you exit the lift, you have to just do this this little trick again. But it only takes a couple of seconds, and it's well worth doing. I don't think it's really an exploit. I think it's just the way the way skills work. You could be considered a small exploit, but I think I'm happy to do it. Don't know if anyone else thinks it's kind of cheesy, but I think it's certainly great for this kind of build. So that's the premise of the build, really. Let's just have a quick look at the other skills and talents. So I'm running with Pulse with Tactical Scanner. That's giving us 15% extra crit chance, 20% crit damage, and obviously an extra 10% damage whilst the pulse is active. And the talents I'm using tech support because this does work with pulse. And obviously we're going to be killing lots of enemies. So every time we kill an enemy, it's going to extend the duration of our pulse and keep that 10% extra damage active, which is really useful. And obviously with Determined as well, killing all those enemies, like I said previously, it gives us pretty much 100% uptime on our pulse. We're going to be running with Combat Medic, so this is essential really for any defense shield build. If your shield starts to get low, then just pop a med kit and you get 40% health back on your shield. We're going to be running On the Move because we're going to be sort of face tanking the enemies, so we're going to be strafing a lot, and if we kill a hostile while we're strafing, we get a nice 15% damage mitigation for 10 seconds. And we're going to be running with One is None because we're going to be aiming for headshots to try and proc that skilled weapon talent. And every time we get a headshot, we have a 50% chance of not consuming the bullet. So allows our mag to be effectively increased in size. Quick look at the character sheet. So we have 27.5% crit chance. So that goes up by another 15% when we've got pulse active. So that's 42.5% roughly. We're running 90% crit damage, 56% headshot damage. Our optimal range is up at 25 meters, which is really good for an SMG. So that does give us a really nice range and effectively sort of puts in assault rifle kind of territory. What else we've got? So going back down to combat, so we've got 52% damage to elites. We're running 15% health on kill, 13.5% enemy armor damage. And there's that 15% protection from elites as well that we get from the defense gear set. So that's the concepts. I will show you the gameplay now, and I'm sure you'll agree it is extremely powerful and it is a huge amount of fun to play. So if you have this stuff lying around, the hardest part is obviously going to be getting an SMG rolled with determined, commanding and skilled. So you just have to be lucky really, or see if you can craft one, or if you can get two of them, if you can get commanding and determined at least, that'll be perfectly fine. That'll be enough to have a hell of a lot of fun with this kind of build. So I hope you enjoy the video. If you do, please drop me a like and subscribe. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has subscribed in the last sort of couple of weeks. As I record this, I'm really close to 1,000 subscribers, which I had no idea would be possible at all after just a few weeks. So a massive thank you to everyone. So that's it for me. I do hope you liked the video. Take care guys, and I'll see you next time.
This is about taking the Rikers out at the knees. There's no one who can replace Lorraine Barrett. She's the one who organized the escape to Manhattan.
They're holding 3 of my people there. If you can get them out before blowing the lid off, I'd be grateful.
All right. Get them out first, but don't jeopardize the mission. We're going in on your heels. The field break ends here.
Warning. Incoming hostiles detected. Warning. Additional hostiles inbound.
I was sure they were gonna kill me just like the others.
Agent, the hostage is being held on the roof. You need to clear it out.
Thanks for the rescue. Thought I was a dead man there. They worked me over pretty good. Buried in our people. They're inside. Ah, shit! Oh, shit. Lighthouse. This is Ramos. I've linked up with Division. I'm wounded. But I can fight.
Negative, Ramos. We've got this. Find a secure position and hunker down.
And that's an order, Sergeant.
Warning. Incoming hostiles detected.
Lau here. I just heard about Ramos, Captain. Glad we reached him in time.
Thanks for that. My people are getting into position to breach the hull. Agent, you're gonna want to unlock the maintenance access. The building blueprints show a security control room down in the basement.
Warning. Additional hostiles inbound. Warning. Incoming hostiles detected.
So far, so good. My strike squads are moving in. They'll breach the main hall on your signal.
Ain't this some shit? Thought you might breach! Breach! Move, move, go, go, go! Go, go! I ain't done with this game. Take it. This is on you! Kill me! Just one more dead black body on a pile, right?
Warning. Incoming hostiles detected.
I'm impressed, Agent. Tricky assignment, but you did what had to be done.